Paratus, always ready. I was not ready. Guys, I was not ready. I know I called it last week, but I wasn't really serious. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about it more.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Guys, welcome back to the Station 19 After Show on AfterBuzz TV. I'm one of your hosts, Linda Antwi, and I'm all in my feelings. I feel guilt almost a little bit, but we'll talk about it. To my left, hello.
What's happening? I'm Joshua Wright. Nice to be here tonight.
Welcome back.
And I'm Tsahai Wilson. I am shocked.
Guys, this episode, listen, the crossover, first of all, we'll talk about, but this episode right here,
Took us through it.
I had tears, and you'll hear it in my voice, not only because I'm sick, but because I have my tissue paper here. I had tears in my eyes. I had to, clear that shit out. Guys, overall thoughts of the episode?
You know, I watched Grey's first, and then I had to switch my brain over to Station 19. So it's been a lot tonight, but the whole time I was like, nope, all these backtracking of showing the Vic Ripley relationship. I was like, nope, don't do it. But they did, and I'm really sad.
Yes, sad is the adjective for me as well. I am sad. I'm sad for Vic.
Yeah. I'm sad for love. I'm sad for love and for Vic, and I'm sad that I called this last week.
Yes, you did.
I feel like I threw it in the atmosphere, and I didn't really mean it, but I kind of felt like if you know anything about Shondaland, you know that she's going to rip someone that you love and care about and just kill him off.
That's right.
And be like, I told y'all what's going to happen. Exactly.
Doomed.
So unfortunately that did happen. And I did also start with Grey's with the crossover. And I liked how they did it because you see a little bit of a meltdown going on over at Grey's as well. You saw how Ben is kind of integral on both shows for this situation. And then when they crossed over here, how the love story was just like a love story and they all support each other. So let's start with Ben and Andy and Sullivan and them showing up at Grey's because they're kind of the ones that were the thorough between the two episodes. What did you think of them finding out from Schmidt about Vic and Ripley?
So Schmidt was really patting himself on the back for most of the beginning of the episode because he's the one that found this person that was, quote unquote, to him, John Doe, who actually turned out to be the chief, Ripley. Schmidt is dealing with his issues with his boyfriend right now, but it was amazing for me to see Sullivan and Andy and Ben in Grey Sloan. It threw me off a little bit, but I was like, I like it. Especially seeing Sullivan in the hospital. I was like, you look good anywhere. So I liked seeing them. But when they found out about the Vic Ripley relationship, Andy's face and her reaction was priceless.
I thought it was hilarious. I thought Schmidt was hilarious in this episode because he's like, did I just out someone?
Yes.
I'm new at this, he says, and then finds out later that Vic is Victoria, and it was still a surprise. But it was really, really funny and unfortunate that was the situation, but that's the situation. Now, I want to ask you guys off the top, do you think if Vic answered the phone, the outcome would have been different?
No.
Do you?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because it sounded like whatever was in his system was already moving through.
Right.
She was blaming herself a lot, and I understand. A part of me wanted to give her some tough love throughout this episode, and I can talk about that more a little later, but I don't think answering the phone would have really changed the outcome here, unfortunately.
Okay. I'm gonna reserve my comment for later.
Okay.
Guys, the live chat is going off crazy, and I know on Instagram it's going off crazy. I know we're mad, guys, and we're sad, but let's get through. We can get through it together. We can get through it together because you guys are just going off, and I understand. We're upset that this is a character that we really love, and we love the romance that was building up. So why don't we just jump into the romance, Vic and Ripley, and what we saw this episode, and the backstories. Let's talk a little bit about that.
I liked that Vic was the initiator in the entire relationship. They showed when they were coming from the coffee shop, and she just cut to the chase. And it's funny because you would think, in my experience, the middle-aged people are usually more forward. They're like, I don't have a lot of time to waste. I know what I want. But Vic came right on. She's like, my place is around the corner, and we can talk there. I also have coffee. Like, let's just go. And we all know what coffee is.
Right. It's the new Netflix and chill.
She was telling him to put a little cream in her coffee.
Lots.
These two are on a roll.
Steve is on it tonight. Thank you to our producer, Steve, as well. But also, I think it was interesting. I think Ripley had to be reserved because he was the boss and he was still holding back. So when she kind of pushed the go button, it gave him that opportunity to open up, which was nice for him. You know, having been widowed, having new love in his life. And I think the fact that it was a coworker and somebody that does the same work, it finally worked for him after what we found out 3 marriages.
Yeah, so
two. I'm sorry, 2 marriages.
He had 2 marriages, and I don't know. Did the first one pass away? Is that what he said?
No, he said that he took it seriously, and then I think he said she didn't like him at the end.
Eva was the second wife that didn't like him in the end. I don't think he's the one that's the widow. I think it's Sullivan's the widow, and he's just has a bad track record with women.
Okay, my bad.
But I do think that he was really I think he was in love with Vic before he even knew that she had those same feelings for her.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, Tsahai, that because he was in the boss position, he didn't know if he could actually act on it.
That's true.
And what I loved about seeing this and just knowing Vic's history is the fact that we know that she's kind of flighty. She doesn't take anyone too seriously. So when she found him and she started taking it seriously and starting initiating things, you knew that she was like, oh yeah, you're my person.
Yeah, it's true.
Which was like,
and it makes me think that Vic, we saw how strong she was throughout this episode, and I guess I'll be a little lenient with her because she was strong when I thought she should be showing a little bit more emotion, but that's true to her character, just being strong throughout. And she was weak at certain points, and I was like, no, girl, now you need to be strong. Come on, go in that room, that office. I mean, the hospital room. So.
And what did you guys think of Travis being her person? Because Travis has gone through this.
Yes.
We know. And him just knowing that she had to talk about it before she even found out. Like, you need to talk about being at that diner and him not showing up and how you feel and process that. And then he knew exactly what to do when she's like, I can't move. And he just grabbed her hand. It was so funny, guys. We were watching with Tsahai. Tsahai's like, just slap her up. Get her up. Yeah.
Shake her. Just do something.
Like, that might work too. But what did you guys think of that? And did you think that he handled it correctly?
I think he did. You know, I was actually feeling sad for the people like Travis who have experienced death previously. So they know what Vic is about to go through, and when he held her hand, that was so sweet because it circles back to sometimes your friends know what you need more than you do at times in these times of crisis where your mind is not working right. So he understood her. I also found it interesting that Travis, we know, is her main go-to, but Andy was really there for her, surprisingly. We saw everybody, all the other team members of Station 19 really be there for Vic in different ways today in today's episode, which was beautiful. But as we saw in the end, you know, Maya had to move over because Travis, her guy, had to be close to her because he's her main person.
Move over, Maya Bishop.
I'm mad at her.
Ooh. I'm not mad at Maya. I'm not mad, you know, but we're talking about Travis and Vic. I think they have a good dynamic. It's already been established that they have a good dynamic. Yeah. When Travis in the first season was looking to get with someone, Vic was there for him. And he's returning the favor. And she called him out about it, saying, hey, now that you've broken up with someone, you need to focus on the things that matter. Yeah. And now it's ironic that what matters was Vic. And so now that he's not distracted with lifting weights and cycling, he can really focus on her, and he was the appropriate person to be there for her because he has gone through it before.
Yeah, I mean, you just gave me the goosebumps because when she was up there on that ladder, not the ladder, but the tower.
Yeah, the tower.
And he took the radio from Andy so that he could deliver the news.
Right.
I was like, oh yeah, because he knows how to talk to her.
Yeah. Right.
And he knows that if he says it, it's important.
Of course.
Right? So I thought that was really like, you know, when you have your person, even on Grey's, when Meredith had her person, well, she still has her person because she has Alex now. but you need your person.
Yeah.
And it just transfers over to Station 19 too, which I think is great. And speaking of great, let's talk a little bit about our great network.
Yes. First of all, I would like to say that we love and appreciate all of our fans out there. Wherever you're listening to us, if it's YouTube, we'd like for you to subscribe, give us a thumbs up. If it's iTunes, give us 5-star rating. Wherever you're listening or watching us, just let us know how we're doing. We're here for you. We love to watch you all in the chat. Let us know how you're doing in the chat. Even throughout the week, we always respond to each other. We let you know that we appreciate you watching. And we just want to tell you all that we thank you so much for making us the ESP of TV Talk. So if you can continue to let your friends know, let your family members know, always let your enemies know because they're watching you too, so that we can continue to grow.
We can also give a shout out to people who commented on our last episode.
Yes.
Miss Victoria Torres, Thina Mafa, sorry if I'm pronouncing anything incorrectly, Gemini 3, who's always up in our comments, thank you, Tony Robinson, Stephanie M, Tia Diaz, Nicole O'Brien, and Audrey O. Thank you guys so much.
And because we are shouting out, let's shout out some of these live chats and the
Yeah.
comments in here because it's popping over there. Shout out to Nyla and Chloe and Ruby. And let me see, what do I have here? Nyla's here. Who's me? Or Mel. I can't read Mel. Obviously. It's Mel. And Nicole O'Brien. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And guys, I know that we are so sad. And I think it was Chloe that said... yeah, I have so many things about this. At least I spent the rest of my life with you when he said that.
That
in
was
moment.
legit.
That girl, that brought the waterworks for me. And then the other thing is the nickname Eggy, which is
Yes,
so
it
beautiful
was
too, right?
Which
cute.
they never alluded to that earlier. I think that was something new this season. Is this week? Is that new this week?
I don't remember hearing it
I
before.
don't think, but a lot of the backstory and the
Yes.
flashbacks, they didn't really show those things.
Right.
We knew that they went to the diner; that was their spot.
Right.
And we knew that they were sick. She was sick in bed,
Yes.
and they had that moment. But even when they were sick in bed, I don't think they said "I love you, I
No,
love you."
they didn't
That's what I
show
was
it.
going to
Right?
say. Yeah,
Yeah.
because at the end, I was like, did they ever even say I love you to each other? And that's why I was like, okay, they're sealing
Yeah.
it with the I love you.
Yeah,
So
so-
that was a nice moment.
I was thinking, okay, so they're giving us the full backstory, like
How
you know
they fell in
you-
love.
Yeah, like you know how you have your day-to-day life, and then you're like, oh, you're doing your job and woo, 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 but you have all these things that happen,
Right.
but you don't necessarily tell the story
course
because
not.
you're like in it.
And you know what I just realized? I was watching it as the show telling us the backstory, but really it was probably Vic remembering all the memories that she had with him because she knew she was probably about to lose him. So it was her, replaying the beginning, the middle, the end, those special moments.
Yeah, I mean that would make sense because at the end when he's like, oh, we can get a chaplain in here, and she's like, well, let me just have this moment with
Right.
you, and that was so sad too.
Yeah.
I loved how she took her hair down because you
Yes.
want to look good for your man.
That's right.
Right?
Plus, remember when we saw her straighten her hair, Josh and I were like, oh, she did her hair.
That's right. She getting right.
The fact that he mentioned that, like, you did something with your hair and said you were so beautiful, I thought that was another beautiful moment, and it's special to her because he noticed those little details.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's when when they know and they notice it's always the little things. Guys, it's always the little things. Oh, so sad. Okay, so let's talk about Maggie's role in this as well.
Yes.
Because she played a big role
Yeah.
on the Gray side as well as the Station 19 side. And on the Gray side, what was really cute is that she is going through her own relationship drama over on that side where she can't decide if she's moving in with her man and why that's holding her back, which made her really bond with Ripley while he was in the hospital because he's trying to get to his relationship and say, I do.
Yeah.
Okay. So what did you think of that?
I liked it. I like seeing the Maggie Ripley relationship. If Maggie doesn't want to move in with Jackson, I totally will, because one, his apartment is amazing, and two, he's very handsome. Now, Maggie also, I liked when she bossed up in this episode when she went to the hospital where she had to get privileges, and she remembered that she had issues when she went to help Miranda when she was sick. It was nice to see her put her foot down, because sometimes Maggie too is a little shaky, like the way she's reacting to Jackson asking her to move in with him. She's like, I don't know know what I'm gonna do. And I'm like, girl, you're a doctor. Like, be
Get in there.
strong. Just say something. So it was nice to see her be there in Station 19 as well. Also, again, I'm hoping that Dean and Maggie have a thing.
Yeah, right.
I
Dean
love-
Maggie's the one he liked, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I just want to make sure.
And I love that you're sticking to that because our fans were not having it with you when you said it the first time.
Look,
So
you
stick with it, girl.
I'm still
I
here
am
for
not.
you. Never know what happens. You
I
never
am
know.
not mad at it at all. At all. Yeah, I think that what was great about Maggie is that we see that she's amazing at her job.
Yes.
We see that she cares about people. And even though that whole HIPAA thing, and then we'll talk about Jennifer, the sister. Jennifer, you were getting on my last nerve.
Yeah.
But for her to be able to talk to Jennifer and explain to her, listen, this can't just be about you and your grief and you trying to come to terms with what's going on. He had a whole life outside of you, and all these people are his family too,
Yep.
and you need to recognize that.
Yeah.
And as a sister of a firefighter, you would think that she would know that. Do you know what I mean? Like, because she
I
lives the
think
life.
she did know that. I think that she had an instant moment of anger and resentment towards Vic. That's what I think it was.
But also, it was interesting to hear that their parents had died, and then that's why Ripley had to take care of Jennifer. So it's probably like her reacting to that and remembering the loss of her parents. And she's like, oh my gosh, now I'm going to lose my brother, the only person I had left. So she was just trying to hold on to as much as she could in that moment,
Yeah.
even though it wasn't right.
Right, and just piggybacking off of what you just said there, that makes total sense because it's just her and he has a high risk job. So at any moment she could lose him, and she wasn't ready to lose him in that moment, but she knew that she was going to.
Yes.
So that was really, really, really sad. And then what I liked about Maggie was when Maggie went to get Vic, and Vic was in the yell room or the cry room, and explained it to her. You know that those two shared it was like a strong woman's moment in a moment of weakness.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah, it's nice to see. Hopefully, we'll get to see them interact more in future episodes. I like seeing them.
I do too. What do you think?
Oh, I like them. I think they're good. I'm just listening to you. I just put it out there. I think Linda's a wonderful host. So sometimes when she's talking, I'm just listening and I forget that I have to comment.
That's funny. Let's talk about Ryan and Jack. And so the cleanup effort. So we're first talking about the cleanup effort with the coffee beans,
Yes.
and then to the second location with the suicidal girl. So they know nothing about what's going on.
Right.
And they didn't know until the hospital what the whole story was. But what did you think of, and I can't forget Dean. What did you think of Maya opening up to Dean in that moment, like about Jack? Like, oh, I'm so glad you know.
Yeah, she was so relieved that it happened very quickly. So I was like, wait a minute, what happened here? But she was she was like, you're better to talk to than a baby. And Dean is like, okay, he seemed like skittish, like he did not want to hear about this right now.
Yeah.
But Maya, you could tell she's off this episode.
Yes.
She's still worried about Andy finding out about her and Jack, so she doesn't know. It's like she's waiting for someone to retaliate, and so she's like on edge the whole time. But I was glad we got a little break from their storyline to focus on Vic Lee this week. But yeah, Maya's in a weird position, and Andy. Did you feel like Andy gave her a little side eye?
Yeah, at the end.
Yeah, at the end. She was like, here
like,
you go.
I'm already up here. What are you doing?
Exactly. And I loved that shot at the end. Everybody climbing on top of the fire station, on top of the hoses. I thought that was great.
It really made me sad, but it also made me happy. And then that voiceover at the end where they talk about the meaning of separatus, where you're always ready to lose a member of your family, but are you ever really ready?
Right.
Yeah.
And the answer is no. You're
Yeah.
never
Yeah, it's
really
true.
ready.
I thought of you saying how Ryan's always the only police officer there. So when they showed up at the tower, and of course Ryan is there, and then he tried to boss up to Sullivan, talk about this is my call, and Sullivan was like, nah.
player.
Exactly.
Nah.
Ryan is the only only policeman.
Yes.
Because they were like out in the boons. Did you
Yeah.
notice that?
Yeah.
But there he was, and he's like, "This is my scene." No, it's not.
No.
Plus, you're already outnumbered. So, like, why?
Well, Sullivan's
and-
taking over
And
everything.
now that I think about it, when has he ever bossed up?
Never.
Think about it.
He did once.
When?
Remember when they were at the warehouse, and it was when Maya and Herrera were arguing, but they were the medics on that site. They had to nab it was a scene they had to nab, and he was taking over. He was like, look, you're going to stay in the ambulance. We'll call you if this happens. It was right when he and Herrera had just been together.
Again.
Oh, so back in season 1?
No. It was earlier this season. Remember? And she looked at him. She said, "Oh, I'm not used to you being in charge."
I'm gonna have to
And she thought he
find
got
out
shot.
that
Remember,
episode.
she thought he got shot.
Okay, vaguely. Was this when they started sleeping together again and he was trying to put his foot down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
but that wasn't him really bossing up. He was pretending.
No, he was in charge of that whole scene. Remember, he set up the whole tactical operation and everything.
I don't know, guys. What do you think? If you remember Ryan bossing up at any point, definitely hit us up in the comments. Because for me to be like,
We have to really delve back into the memory
it's
bank
not
for
bossed
that.
up enough as far as I'm concerned. Let's move on and talk about a little bit more about not that they were the side characters, but just like the Gwen incident.
Yeah,
Yes.
I liked Gwen.
And how that's like real life for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Not the suicide part, but the anxiety and,
Job loss.
the job loss and the shock of all of that.
You have a family to think about.
Right.
And the minute I saw her at the top of the tower and she said I was called into my boss, I said, oh, she lost her job.
You did say that.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they're bringing that to television because you're right. When the unemployment rate was high back in almost 10 years ago, it was like at 9.5%. People were like almost losing their minds because your kids still have to eat.
Yeah.
The bill collectors are still going to call
Yeah.
you. So that's a real life experience. And for her to have the car that's indicative of her child, giving her strength, I really felt that was important for her to know that she still has someone she can connect with. So
Yeah.
Vic was the perfect person in that moment.
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't think Gwen was trying to kill herself when I saw her up there, but when she and Vic were talking and she said she just needed peace because she said sometimes the world feels a little bit too much sometimes. I really connected with that because where else can you go for a little quiet? It's hard to find that space, especially if you're a working mom,
Yes.
wife, you're trying to just an employee somewhere and then you suddenly just get let go. I think she was just out of her mind. Also, it spoke about anxiety and
Yes.
when you are suffering with anxiety and you aren't taking your medication, you are bound to do things that are out of the norm for yourself.
And she missed 2 doses.
Yeah, 2 doses.
That's a lot.
That's a whole day.
I mean, and so to have that, have your meds not stable, and then the shock of losing your job and just being overwhelmed and anxiety, all of it, I get how she got to where she got. But what I also thought was really sweet is that car part being like tiny and strong.
Yeah.
And I really do feel that she didn't know she was going to have this type of day, but kids are so intuitive.
Yeah.
And some of the things that they do, if you think about it after, you're like, how would they even possibly know? But it's because they're so intuitive. Like, her child stuck that in her pocket
Yes.
for her to have strength for her day, not knowing what her day ahead was going to be,
That's true.
but knowing her mom.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Does
That's
that make
true.
sense?
And being selfless enough to give her mom her favorite toy.
favorite toy.
And I like the fact that it was a little girl who liked cars. Normally they attribute like little boys with liking cars
Yes.
and trucks and things like that, but it was a little girl who liked a strong, fast car. And we found out that Linda likes Camaros.
I like Camaro. Let me not
Uh-oh.
get started.
Wait a minute.
I'm a car person. I
See,
go
I
to
didn't
car
know that.
shows.
You're about to get some messages from all the men in the chat now.
Listen, try not to talk crap about cars because I will take you there, all the way there. Yeah, but now I'm Miss Clean Air, so I don't know what to do with
It's
myself.
still a car thing.
You have an electric car?
I do.
Oh, well, good for you.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going all clean air. This gas thing, I can't do it. Can't do it. Let's talk about a little bit more about Ben and Miranda and that call he made in the hospital
See.
at Presbyterian, where I'm finding that hospital is whack.
Janky.
Yeah.
know.
Right, like they should close that down right there.
Right. Did you see how slow that man was typing?
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
like, Ripley, R.I.
She's like, he's dying, bro. Can
Right.
you hurry up?
Right, are you in a hospital? Shouldn't there always be a sense of emergency? You're not at the doctor's office.
Right.
Whatever.
And Maggie bossed up. That's what bossing up looks like.
Yeah.
Not what Ryan does occasionally.
Oh Lord, y'all killing
If at
me.
all.
But Ben, he called Miranda.
Yeah.
You know, she's had issues with him not picking up at times.
Yeah.
And here it is, being in this space reminded him of the time he almost lost his wife. And that must have been, I think that's how everybody was feeling. Like they were all remembering either someone they almost lost or someone that they did lose.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I was a little like, Vic, come on, girl, be strong in this moment. You've had other people that have gone through this, but I can't imagine being in that situation myself. So.
And especially it's that person your person that you love.
And it was a new relationship that they didn't
Yeah.
even get to finish because, this happened.
Yeah.
So it
I
was,
have a problem with Ben.
why?
What's your problem with Ben?
In that particular scene, for me, I'm more direct. But when I'm talking to someone whom I love to that magnitude, and I know that they were almost snatched away from me, I'm not stuttering. I'm not cautious. That's just me. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying he was wrong, but if I'm in a place where I'm reminded of a time where I almost lost the love of my life, I'm not stuttering and no, baby, look, okay.
I hear what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. So that was my issue. I don't think he was wrong, but I'm one of those grab life by the horns types.
Right.
So I'm like, grab the bull, kiss the bull, tackle the bull.
Yeah.
Like, girl, I love you. And when I get home tonight, I'm going to show you. That's just me.
See, you wanted to shake Ben and I wanted to shake Vic.
Yeah,
So
I want
was
to
like,
shake
come
me,
on,
like,
kid.
man up.
I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
but on the flip side of that, I also know that he's been tiptoeing a little bit just because she did have a heart attack.
Right.
And he's trying to be mindful of her because he doesn't want anything to happen.
I understand.
I think like going at her, I don't know. It could be
She
both
might
ways.
like it.
She might like
Miranda
it.
might be into that kind of thing.
Oh, well, we already know she
Yeah,
likes,
she-
she
I'm about to
likes to
say.
take charge.
Yeah, she
She likes to
snatched him
take-
up real quick.
Yes. What I liked about one moment, thank you, Steve. One moment that I also liked, if for those of you who watched Grey's, you saw Ben try to explain why Vic and Ripley was a big deal, and he was like, it's kind of like, and they were like, you and the
Miranda.
chief, and he was like, oh yeah. So it's so funny. There are people that are currently in relationships with their bosses that we kind of have gotten used to, but it was such a big deal with
When
these
it happened.
two. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about Andy and Sullivan holding hands and what we think that means. Because I was a little shocked by that.
Really?
Well, not that I was shocked that that was happening because we already know that that's
Right.
the direction we're going.
Okay.
But that they were so open about it because they just were our new friends.
Yeah.
Right? And now you're in a tragedy. That's the person, that's your go-to person.
I think it's appropriate.
Do you?
I do, and I'm going to tell you why.
Tell us why.
Tell us.
Sullivan is the captain, and when he came in, he shook things up with Herrera more than he did with Gibson. Gibson felt betrayed by her father. So now that Sullivan has built this relationship, because Chief Ripley is sick, he's on his deathbed, I think it's appropriate that the captain, who had the issue with that lieutenant, begins to comfort that lieutenant. And the only person who saw a problem with it was, Jellyback Ryan.
Well, also,
Jellyback Ryan. So Ryan was the hero 5 seconds ago with this one. Now he's a jellyback.
but also we have to remember that Sullivan and Andy have gone through their whole drama in the 8 car together.
Yeah.
And then he's the one that he confided to Andy. Sullivan confided in Andy about his issues with Ripley. So they've shared a lot together, and I think it's just that bond that they have growing is just coming out physically now.
I agree with you. This live chat, they are not having any of this. Shanice, Shonda does this. She's going to mess with your emotions.
Yes.
You got to hold on. She's saying right now, she's like, they're definitely going to lose viewers because I'm done with this show after this episode. I'm tired of Shonda messing with my mental health.
No, look, there's still hope for Dean. We got to stay and watch what happens with Dean. And then also, Shonda got to do whatever she got to do to keep the show going because season 3 is a little, TBD. So she had to spice it up. She and Stacey.
Shanice is on fire. Shanice says Ryan needs to mind the business that pays him.
Well,
Oh my gosh. Josh?
I'll tell you this. Shonda did this to me with Wesley on How to Get Away with Murder. I was angry.
Yeah.
I was like, not Wesley.
I know.
Listen, Shonda, that's what she does. But
Yes.
guys, she's not the only one that does it. Like, think of Game of Thrones. My new thing is you just can't be emotionally invested in anybody.
No.
But it makes it better when you are.
I know, but you can't because you never know when these people are going to go, and you're just like, what? Doesn't stop me from crying, but at least I have my guard up.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I can see it coming a mile away. So Tsahai and I were like, oh, not with the flashbacks.
I know.
Oh, no. This is all types of wrong, and we're only 5 minutes in.
I know.
Because you know what flashbacks mean. Somebody gonna die.
Someone gonna die. Guys, great episode. Anything else you want to say about the ending of this episode before we move on to some news and gossip?
I just, I thought it was good overall. We kind of covered everything. Gwen, I'm glad that she got the help I'm glad Gwen didn't die.
Right.
But I was willing to lose her. We also thought it was going to be that other captain.
I wanted it to Conley.
Yeah,
Bye.
we thought about him. I was like, okay, well, he's been around for one episode. We could lose him.
Yeah.
But it's hard to see Ripley go. He was so handsome. Should we pour some out for Ripley? I mean,
real.
just pouring a little bit out for him.
For real.
Thank you.
And you know what, guys? It's going to continue next episode. I was like, oh, we're not even done with this grief feeling.
No.
Going to the home going.
You know they were not going to let you get out that easily.
They should have. I don't need the tears and the puffy eyes, but, I'll go there. Let's move on to some fire facts, and then we'll do some news and gossip. So, fire facts, guys, one of our favorite segments. So, the word fire, do we know where it comes from? Anyone want to guess?
Fuego, Spanish, Latin.
Close. Latin close. Okay. Guess?
I do not know.
It's a West German origin. It's related to the Dutch Vuur and German Fleur.
Okay.
There are, I guess what they're saying is that the history of fire goes all the way back to the beginning of time, and as do these words.
Yeah.
Fires thrive on togetherness. When they say that, what first comes to mind?
Because you need several elements. You need oxygen.
Yeah.
Oxygen.
And being that I had an electrical fire this week in my house.
Oh, no.
Yes. And so you need oxygen. You need some kind of kiln.
Yeah.
And then
There's a third element.
I don't know.
Yeah, there is. There's three. We've talked about it. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I will tell you guys in the comments. But when they talk about togetherness and fire, they're actually talking about the close proximity of things that can burn. So, for example, homes. So when homes are too close together, they become what they say as combustible features that increases the chance of each home going down the street lighting up in flames.
Wow.
So fires spread rapidly when homes are less than 15 feet apart, making homes that are cluttered near one another likely to burn faster. So what they say is when you're looking for property, make sure your neighbor's not right up next to you. Because when one goes, the embers fly to the next one, and that's how you see the whole thing goes on fire quickly. About 1/3 of home fires and deaths happen in what months, you think?
June.
What do you think?
I think it's earlier, like April or March.
August.
December?
Okay.
Oh.
Christmas, holidays, people are together, the lights, the fires.
Oh, okay.
January.
Okay.
Why do we think January?
Drinking.
New Year's,
yeah,
fireworks.
fireworks.
Yep. And February.
Okay.
Candles from
Valentine's Day. Yep. Crazy, right? And then our last fire fact, roughly half the people arrested for arson are under the age of 18.
Wow.
Idiots.
It's probably accidents most of the time.
That and playing around. Do you know what I mean?
With
Not that that's a good
matches.
thing. Yeah, not that that's a good thing.
Think about playing on the stove.
Yeah.
They're just so drawn to it. Yeah.
Or back in the day, we used to have the mirrors and with the ants.
Oh, yeah.
we used to do
Y'all used to burn ants, too?
Yes.
Yeah, we used to burn ants. We
None of you
sorry.
animal people come and attack
telling
you.
you.
Well, you're
That
green now with the car.
Yeah, that was way back in the day. That I didn't know any better.
We use
Ants.
lighters. We just used the lighter.
Oh, see, we were trying to be all like, oh, let's see if we can start the fire. Yes. Guys, let's move on to some news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Oh my goodness, Shanice. Okay, this is the last thing I want to say about Shanice, but Shanice is like, she's not watching the show, but she's going to watch her after show to keep up with the show.
Thank you,
She is
Shanice.
that mad at Shonda.
We love you.
We
Thank
will not
you.
disappoint you. We'll keep you posted.
Okay, so this first picture is of Daniel, and she is getting her model pose on. And I think she looks amazing. And I think it was like a model week, because if we flip to the next one, we have Ryan. And he was modeling for Wingman magazine. And I actually think he looks really handsome here.
Yeah.
You guys...
You need a stylist.
Oh, you're not liking this?
I think the outfit's a little washed for the background.
And because you do this as well.
Well, yeah, So
Yeah.
I look at it differently.
Okay, so did you like the first one then? Let's go
Yeah.
back to that first one.
Yeah, the first one was dope. Yeah.
First one's dope.
Yeah.
Second one not so dope.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. And our third photo, I just thought, because that ending scene was so beautiful with the family and the team, I just
Yeah.
thought this was a really nice one
That's
to
a cool
have.
pic, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And Larger, you see that Ryan's right in the family. He's second to the left there.
We're loving him.
I'm like, Ryan, you are not a fire. Oh,
But he's
maybe,
so cute.
maybe he'll jump ship.
I want
Maybe
to know
he'll-
how much he's making as the only cop in the city.
For real, for real. And, I am from Vancouver, so I've been to Seattle many a time. And Seattle is big, so he must be really busy. And this next photo I thought was really cute. This is Andy goofing around with her lieutenant hat, making jokes. Go ahead, Andy. And then for the crossover, we have Schmidt, Andy, Ben, and Sullivan. And apparently had a really fun time on set. And they all kind of are really an extended family from Shondaland, which I think is awesome. And then we have the hotties, and it says our Station 19 firefighters looking fire. Right? And they do look beautiful, the two of them. That must have been the day she straightened the hair when you guys saw, right? She's like, I filmed this day, let's go out.
Let's keep it straight, yeah.
For real, for real. And then we have a selfie, again, with the crossover. And I thought that this was really appropriate because if you watch the gray side,
Yeah.
these were the main characters on the gray side, right? Mm-hmm. And Maggie in there with Andy. That's cool. And then because there was a crossover, I wanted to pull this up. So we know DeLuca from Grey's Anatomy, and we saw him in the crossover saying "I love you" for the first time to Meredith, and Meredith freaking out. Well, in real life, he is off the market. It says, sorry, everyone, DeLuca is off the market. He's stepping out of the OR for his wedding in Italy, and he got married this week.
Beautiful.
Well, congratulations.
And
Yeah.
his bride looks gorgeous, and DeLuca likes curves. Get it?
Get it? Well, he's Italian, right? Italian
Yes.
stallion. And then, you guys are going to be sad when I show you this next picture, but it says, we are all smiles for now. Who's ready for the craziest crossover episode yet? And that was looming to what was going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But hopefully, I feel like Ripley's moving on to another show or another project, and that's why they killed him off.
Yeah.
Bump that.
And you know what? Right? Exactly. Because he's super handsome. And then in the next one, they went live on their Station 19 stories and Instagram. And it just said, are y'all ready for your hearty dose of Vickley? And we were not ready. They look adorable. Look how adorable. I would have loved to see them explore this some more. And then Tsahai actually put this next one up for you. They were hanging out at the district downtown LA, and one of the cast, she's not a cast member, but she's a team member on the show. We have such a great cast, she says. How hot are our men? I'll tell you this, they're just as cool to be around as they are to look at.
Dean, who is woman?
I just finished telling you who the woman was.
I don't know her. Okay, like J-Lo, like Mariah doesn't know J-Lo.
Okay,
I
but
don't
she
know
took
her.
a photo with all of the men.
And she got a matching African bracelets, and he got a matching African top
Okay,
on.
so I pulled this one specifically for you. I could have done any of the men, but I did this one because I love that he's in traditional African wear and appreciating his Nigerian heritage. It looks awesome on him. And then next up on the takeover of Instagram stories, we have the crossover again, and they were playing a game. They were doing like trivia. What do you know about Grey's and what do you know about Station 19, which I thought was super fun. And here it says on the next one, it's trivia time, and it is Maya, which I thought was interesting, was part of it. Vic, and then Schmidt. Yeah. And then the next one. So one of the questions was, and I'm going to ask you two this, Station 19, is it the first spin-off created from Grey's? True or false?
False. I want to say, but I'm confusing it with Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder.
You guys are right. It's the first spin-off was Private Practice.
Oh yes, I loved Private Practice. Tate Diggs was in that joint.
Good job. Shonda would be proud. And then the next one, they went on KTLA to promote the crossover. So these cuties were on KTLA News, and if you go to the Instagram stories, you will be able to check out their episode.
Nice.
And then this last one I thought was interesting, because guess who's in this last one? Grey's friends. Maggie. They did a short, and so she says, I'm so excited to share that At Cohorts of Guests is available to stream online until, April 29th. Viewers are invited to vote for their favorite short film as part of the Liftoff Film Festival's first-time filmmakers sessions. So I thought that was cool that they have a short film, and I'm going to see what I can do to find it and see if we can at least take a look at it.
Nice.
Awesome, guys. Let's go on to some predictions for next week.
Okay.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right.
So I'll start. I think Vic is going to run into, she's grieving, but she's going to run into more issues with the other firefighters finding out about her relationship with Ripley. We saw the guys already gossiping at the hospital, and so we're going to see more issues there with her. I also just hope she has some strength because, Travis lost a husband, Sullivan lost a wife, Andy lost her mother, so there's so many people that have experienced loss that will be there for her. And then we should also be wondering who's going to be the new chief.
Yeah, I'm thinking that Pruitt is going to move into...
That was mine.
Oh, oops.
I think I even gave you that while we were watching.
Yeah, I think Pruitt is going to move into something very important. He's been an alpha on these job sites recently, the last couple of episodes. So I'm looking for something there. I do agree with you about Vic. I do think, for those who don't think men gossip, they do. So I do think that they were judging Vic, and I think that she's either going to have to come to her own aid, or Travis is going to have to defend her in some form.
Yeah. So, jumping off of what my great co-host has said, Pruitt is going to be the new boss, and they alluded to it today when Dean was like, well, you're not even our boss anymore. We don't have to listen to you. And so we talked about how they could have him back.
Right.
And so this was the gateway, being an EMT, and now he is going to have the job back, and he's going to be the big bad.
That's dope.
The big job. So that's what I predict for that. I think that we're going to see more of the Andy Maya break in the next coming episodes, because everyone's going to be worried about Vic and her loss and all of that. But because they're doing that, they haven't had time to reconnect and mend that friendship and the fracture that's they have there. And I want you guys to think about that last shot when we saw Jack, and when Jack came up and Jack was on the side and then Maya was lying right here, like he was her protector, I was like, oh, this is going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem because she's going to fall for him. And Andy, even though she says she's okay with it, she's not.
Yeah.
Those are my predictions, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let's continue the conversation. We love hearing from you. So definitely hit us up in any of the comments, wherever you watch us. You can find me all across social media at Linda Is So Girly.
You can find me everywhere at Cleverly Clad.
And you can find me at Say Hi, Tsahai.
Guys, till next week, same time, same place. Bye for now.
All right, bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.